Hey, thanks for tuning in to an episode of Listen to Larry with your host, Larry Bammer, One Real Mortgage.
And there, if I can,
Until they either refinance or something.
Western work ethic.
something that I like to do.
You need my help.
I made this
Happy to be here.
Like, oh my gosh.
having you.
60-day rent
For
back
free.
for free. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm super excited to showcase someone I've known now for a couple of years. I've worked with very closely. I still do, actually, as his preferred lender. Iain Phillips from Onyx Homes, First Team Real Estate, Orange County, California.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So we know each other from working together. Before I got into lending and I was a realtor, you were the guy that washed my cars.
I was, yeah. You took me under your wing, taught me how to wash a car properly, what kind of coffee you liked, that sort of thing.
You were not the assistant that some might think. If you're a realtor and you're actually watching this, and you're starting to get busy, and you're like, oh, I need to hire an assistant. I would even caution you to don't hire an assistant. I hired a production partner, is what we called it, and it was basically you were going to get into the industry. You were going to be a solo agent someday,
Yep.
and you just wanted to learn the business. And so, I don't know, when you first started as a production partner, what did you think it was going to be, and what did it turn out to be?
I didn't really have any expectations for what it was going to be. I think I interviewed about 15 different team leaders that I wanted to, get to know and learn from. And you had a ton of experience. I think at the time you had 18 years in the business or something like that. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to learn from you. And I think it started off as tagging along on all the showings, listening to phone calls, listing appointments, that sort of thing. And then I think within the first month I was, showing homes by myself, but still working under you and learning from you. So I think I saw it as a way to be in the business, learn it correctly, and be able to support myself with money, and then eventually branch off. The plan, well, there wasn't really a plan to leave because we were like growing, but I was eventually wanting to be solo, and I think learning from someone who had 18 years, I feel like I am more experienced than some agents who have been solo for 5+ years.
Well, yeah, you learned 5 years of experience.
Yeah, in
a year. Might have been a little bit longer if I decided not to become a cowboy and build a house and move to Texas. So there you have it.
Yeah.
I had an idea that was going to be happening, and whether you knew it or not, there was some trial by fire and pushing you pretty aggressively. Now he is now you're listing, over $5 million homes, ocean views, and talking to people that other agents would never have the skill set or ability to do. Confidence, because you learned so much so quickly. So. It's funny listening to you. You sound funny. I sense an accent, and it's not North Orange County accent.
No. So I grew up in the Caribbean on an island called Saint Lucia, and lived in the Caribbean for maybe like 13 or 14 years of my life. And I think I picked up a little bit of an English accent when I moved to England and got my captain's license. I was a sailor prior to being in real estate.
So my takeaway from today is it's not Caribbean. It's
I don't know what my accent is. It's definitely become more American since I've moved here. I think when I first moved here, a lot of people thought I was Australian or something.
Yeah, I think when I first started, I thought So you grew up in Saint Lucia, kicking conch shells on the beach, or
yep, fishing for sea urchins.
Then you went to where in England?
It's a little town called Southampton. It's kind of just
Bougie.
where
Like, is it
it's
like
not-
Arhampton?
It's not bougie
Oh,
at all. It's kind of like a grungy, like Navy sailor town.
like San
Um,
Pedro in California.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, I lived there for almost 6 months, sailing around, getting my license to captain 200-ton sailboats.
200. How many feet? Like you said, 200 ton. But how big of a sailboat are we talking?
I think it depends. Obviously, it depends on a few different factors, but I'd say on average up to 160 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. The last boat I was on was 130 feet.
And you being a co-pilot, co-captain, where did you get to? And you're at that time you're what, 20, 21, 22?
Yeah, I started when I was 20. Now I'm 29.
Where did this career path take you? Where did you get to go?
All over. I started in the Caribbean on small yachts, and then I got offered a job to sail a boat from Thailand to Madagascar. So I immediately quit my job. They flew me out to Thailand. There was a 90-foot sailboat, and that journey was about 18 days without seeing any land. That was my first time doing a trip like that.
Yeah.
It was pretty gnarly. There were maybe like 3 or 4 storms, almost fell out of the boat once. And if you fall out of the boat in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the Indian Ocean, you're basically dead. There's like no chance of recovering you. So we landed in Madagascar, hung out there for a few months, sailed back to Thailand. And then we took the boat all over Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia. Where else? Yeah, that's kind of it. And then that boat went to the Mediterranean, and then I was in the Mediterranean on a different boat for almost a year. That was it had like a world record for crossing the Atlantic Ocean. It was one of the fastest sailboats ever built.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I joined a different boat based in Rhode Island, Newport, Rhode Island, and that was
Below deck.
No. I was going to actually join that TV show because they launched a sailboat edition. Right before I got out of the industry. I was thinking of joining that TV show because they were hiring a first mate for the show, and I was like, should I just do 1 year on live television before I get out of the industry? But I didn't do it.
So how do you go from Saint Lucia and the Hamptons, the England Hamptons, to Thailand, to Rhode Island, to wind up in Orange County, California, selling real estate?
Yeah, it's a bit of a love story, I suppose. I moved. Well, I was visiting my dad here in Orange County, and originally I was going to stay for less than 29 days because if I stayed for 30 days or more, I would owe taxes to the U.S. government.
Oh,
So my plan was to stay for less than 30 days, fly out on day 29 to Europe. And then I met a girl here after a couple of weeks of being in Orange County and decided to give it a go. Stayed longer, paid my taxes.
paid your dues.
Paid the membership fee to be in California. And yeah, now I'm here almost 3 years later. Yeah, and I was not working for almost a year trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I've always been very interested in investing, the stock market. I've seen how real estate can grow and sort of build that generational wealth. I think I read a stat the other day. It was like 90% of all millionaires made their money from real estate. So it's always been very interesting to me. My mom has some properties that she rents out and uses it as passive income to support her life in the Caribbean. So I got my real estate license, and I think it was basically, I don't know if I met you right after I got licensed, or was I in the process of getting my license?
I think you'd already gotten it.
I already gotten it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we started working together shortly after that.
So you're in Orange County. You've been in the business now for a few years. What's the some people get a good laugh at what the least expensive home you've ever sold?
I think it was a 1-bedroom condo in Laguna Hills, 490,000.
490,000.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Most expensive?
Well, I mean, I have a listing for 5.5 million, but I think the most expensive I've closed, maybe 2 million. Yeah.
Wow. So I bring that up because you're dealing with the sellers or buyers like at all price points.
Yeah.
In Orange County, and you tailor. Do you tailor your personality? Do you tailor what you do, how you represent your clients when dealing with that first time home buyer buying that 1-bedroom versus the millionaire?
Do I change like how I represent them?
Yeah.
No, everyone gets the exact same experience, whether I'm representing a seller for a $5 million house or a first-time home buyer for their first condo. Everyone gets the same experience, and for me, it's really more about working with people that I really like and that I can see myself helping. That's kind of the part of the fulfillment with real estate, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there an avatar? Is there a niche client type that you like working with most?
That I like working with most? I don't think so. I'd say most of the deals I have closed have been second buyers, people wanting to upsize to a larger home, move out of their initial first condo or townhome and then get into a single family home.
That's a great way to explain what are you doing for that person that 'cause we talked about that before on another podcast, that move up can be kind of treacherous. What are you doing to get them out of their current house and into that next one? The timing of it, they sell and they're homeless, then they're buying their next house,
Yeah.
or how does that process work?
So there's a few different options. It can be pretty scary when you need to, like, if you need to sell your current home to buy another one. I would always say if you can afford to keep your first home and rent it, I would absolutely do that. A lot of people bought a house with a 2.5-3% mortgage rate in 2020 and 2021, and you can profit substantially off of that house if you want to keep it as an investment property.
Yeah.
And then sort of like build your own little real estate portfolio. So I would say if you can afford to keep it and rent it out and still upsize to your home, absolutely do that. Don't sell it if you can keep it.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to sell it, there are kind of two different ways to do it, one of which is more favorable. It's easier for the consumer and for myself. The first one is listing your home contingent, so meaning you can't sell that house until you have found a replacement property.
You're not closing on the first one,
Correct,
without having the second in contract.
Yeah, and that keeps the owner of the home protected rather than selling their house first, not knowing where they live, and then buying another one. Now, if you can sell your house, like say you have family members who live here, you can move in with them for 30 days while you look for a replacement property. Then you can sell your house first, move in with them, but then you have to move twice. It can be a little annoying. You might have to keep most of your stuff in storage. So the other way is we work with this company called Homelight. They do like a buy before you sell program. And they charge a little fee, but basically they unlock a portion of your equity and you can use that to buy your replacement property first and then sell your house, and then whatever equity is left, you actually get that balance given to you.
Got it. So now you're able to close on your upleg property, your next property, move in, and then you sell the departing residents probably for more money now that they're gone, and you can get it staged or painted, something like that.
Yeah, so it's obviously much easier to sell a house that's vacant rather than someone living there. You have to time showings. The house has to get ready before every showing, versus a vacant house. You can stage it, paint it, do the touch-ups you need to do, and then it's available 24/7 to show.
You mentioned on the first example where you're contingent and you're selling your property, but you're waiting to find the upleg property to get in contract with and close concurrently. Are you still seeing market trend wise in Orange County rent backs?
It was pretty prevalent at the beginning of the year, I would say, into the second half of Q3 and now Q4. It's less relevant, I would say, at least from the homes I'm writing offers on.
Mm-hmm.
There are occasionally people that want like a 1 week rent back, but it's not as relevant as it was last year and earlier this year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember in the middle of COVID in 2022, like
it was like
60-day rent back for free. and maybe then we'll take your offer. It's crazy how much the market swings like that, which kind of brings me to a point of why someone should hire you. Not because you were, your mentor was amazing, you were trained by the best, but you take knowledge of the market, macro to micro, very seriously.
Very, yeah.
I mean, more than I ever did. And you're constantly looking at what's going on in the economy and how that impacts rates. Thank you today. Favorable. Down to comps and selling and stuff. How do you get? What's your process, or what are you doing every day? If there's a realtor new in the business that's watching that wants to be like you, what does your day look like to have that kind of be that knowledge broker?
I think a lot of it will come down to personality. I'm very analytical, so I like to know the stats pretty specifically before I meet a client. I have tons of numbers I can tell them as to what is exactly happening, because news headlines kind of make it seem like it's a doomsday in the real estate market. You're seeing news headlines like lowest transaction since the financial crisis, which implies that the housing market is crashing. Mm-hmm. So being very analytical, I look at like price points as to what is going over list price, how much below list price. As of November, Orange County has actually surpassed the peak of the market last year. So Orange County is now more expensive than 2022 for the median sales price.
Wow.
Yep. And it's not happening in all of California. LA County is on a downward trajectory. So it has not caught up to the peak of the market, and Orange County is just continuing to show strength.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a number of factors. I posted a video the other day about the top 10 safest cities in California, and 6 of the top 10 are in Orange County.
Wow.
Yep. In all of California, 6 of the top 10 are in Orange County. So I think it's safety, it's public schools. We have many cities here with a great public school system, proximity to the beach. I mean, location-wise, if you want to go ski, in the winter, it's a 3-hour drive, 4-hour drive, depending on where you want to go. There's tons of outdoor activities to do here. I go on hikes every week with my girlfriend, biking trails. I think it's like quality of life is, in my opinion, the best I've ever experienced. And I've lived in the south of France, Spain, Italy, all over the world. And I truly think Orange County is like my favorite place to live.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that would explain why there's this tax or premium.
Yeah.
To living in Orange County.
Yeah, and I think it's worth it.
Yeah. What are some other market trends you're seeing?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, median sales price has now surpassed the peak last year, but it's only in certain price points. So you're seeing it more in condos and townhomes, and the entry-level single-family home beneath 1.2 million. Those are all more expensive than last year. But when you start to look at homes above 1.5, they haven't caught up to the peak yet. They're still a lot, not a lot lower, but 5 to 10% lower than the peak of the market last year. And it's a lot more substantial when you continue to go up in price. it was I think the number was for every $1 million you go up in price, that house is selling for an additional 1% below the list price.
Since you know your numbers, what are we looking at for days on market right now in Orange County?
It's gone up. We're sitting at about 45 for condos and townhomes, and then single family homes, it's about 55 days on market. Houses above 1.5 million, it's about double that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's closer to 90, 95 days on market for the, I guess, luxury.
So if you're thinking about selling your home, factor in potential
Yep.
for days on market. What if you're a homeowner looking to sell and you want to shorten that? What are the suggestions that you're bringing to the table talking to your sellers?
So houses, I would say the most important thing is pricing your home right. There's a ton of people, I don't know if it's the agent or the seller, overpricing their home, and it just sits on the market forever, doesn't get any showings. So pricing your home competitively, and maybe that's like slightly below what it's worth, so you can get multiple offers going and people bidding against each other. And then the other thing is, of course, touch-ups. Like a fresh coat of paint on the inside can actually like give you a return on your investment. If it's $8,000, maybe your house can sell for an extra $20,000 if you do that. Things like new flooring, if you've had dogs for 20 years and you haven't replaced the flooring, maybe doing luxury vinyl plank, it's a pretty small cost for the return you'll get. And then easy things like I always pay for professional photos and videos because people are shopping online. I mean, a buyer who doesn't have an agent, they're looking on Zillow every single day. So the first impression is not really when you get to the home. The first impression is now online with professional photos and like a video walkthrough. We've all seen those listings that have cell phone pictures and the agent has their thumb in the picture. That house is on the market for 200 days.
Or they're in the bathroom taking a bathroom mirror picture, a picture of only the luxury vinyl flooring and nothing else in the MLS, and you're wondering what's going on. Video. What is video, and how is video playing a role in your marketing in real estate?
When you say video, do you mean like a listing video, or do you mean social media?
Yeah, let's say listing video. If I'm a seller and I'm going to hire you and you take professional photography, you obviously are very astute at the market and pricing, but this other guy will do it for a little bit less, but he's going to take iPhone photos and not do a video. Why is a property tour video important? Is it important?
It is absolutely important because it kind of gives the consumer or the buyer of the property feeling like they're at the home without being at the home. So when they schedule that showing, they already know they absolutely love the home, versus someone who has cell phone pictures and maybe reduces their commission by 1%. I mean, you can look at it on Zillow. You can see how many people have viewed the property, how many showings there have been. I think it's like 6 times less showings when you have cell phone pictures uploaded. So when you have, like I said, that first impression is on Zillow. So when you invest into a good first impression, you're getting a ton of traffic into the house. And that's what helps with multiple offers.
Yeah, and getting into the springtime, I guess if you're looking at selling your home in 2024 and that springtime market, March, April, May, when you get the most amount of inventory, that like setting yourself apart from the other competition is going to be important this year, especially.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's like rates are slightly below 7% right now, but it's still higher than buyers have been used to for the last few years. So it's no longer just write an offer and get it accepted. It's buyers are looking at their monthly payment. They're paying attention to recently sold houses. Buyers are a lot more educated in a higher rate environment. So anything to give you the edge when you're selling your house is very helpful.
What other kind of marketing do you and your team do to sell a house?
A lot of it is YouTube ads, social media ads. We do open houses every day, at least for the first month when we put a listing on. Because when it's a fresh listing and you do an open house on the first weekend, you're guaranteed at least 20 plus people at that open house.
How has technology in the industry, and also maybe what you guys on your team use, how has technology played a role, or is going to, let's say in 2024, with you in real estate?
I think I utilize technology a little bit differently because I am more of an analytical type. I utilize technology to really dig deeper into market trends. And I know there's a lot of agents who are pushing AI, but I haven't really had a whole lot of positive experience with AI. I don't know if maybe you've experienced it differently, but for me, the technology is really just digging into deeper trends and being super knowledgeable in the local market so I can best represent the seller and the buyer of the home. Because when you have every single trend memorized to the certain price, it really does make a difference in marketing and representing a buyer for a property.
Okay. How is this interview going?
Going well.
I use ChatGPT to get these questions.
Yeah, I've tried ChatGPT with like property descriptions.
Yeah,
but I always have to
go in there and
change it.
Yeah,
and I may as well just write it myself. It's good for like a rough outline of certain things, and then going in and changing it yourself to make it more accurate and more, I guess, flowy is helpful. Yeah.
Okay, we talked about sellers. We talked about the market. We talked about you missed a spot in the water. What is most important? What is the advice you're going to give? We're gonna go into a market in 2024. I don't know when. Maybe you can tell me where you kind of think, when is it going to pick up and be more competitive? But in 2024, with low inventory, what is your advice for first-time home buyers that want to win, that want to get in a home in, let's say, Q1, Q2 of next year?
Yeah. It's going to be a tough market for first-time home buyers, in my opinion. How to win is definitely getting a lender who can fully underwrite you straight away and have short contingencies and is able to close faster. I'm sure every real estate agent and every person who has purchased a home has tried to get a loan from a bank, and they are just extremely slow. A lot of them require a 45-day close, 20-day contingencies, and if as a first-time home buyer, if you're coming in with a smaller down payment and you don't want to pay way over list price, a loan from a bank is just not going to cut it.
It's music to my ears. Not only because I'm a lender, or you're a lender, but I have there's a lady I know right now who her buyer has missed out twice this week on submitting an offer for a property because her buyer is still waiting for a pre-approval letter that they've asked for 4 or 5 days ago.
Oh my God.
And they're still missing out on two properties now that they missed out on. So yes, the reality is our company, One Real Mortgage, it's 24 hours.
Yep.
Like, we will get you a pre-approval letter if you can get approved. We will get you that pre-approval within 24 hours, if not the same day. I mean, obviously, if you get me at 5 o'clock, you're going to get it the next day by 5 o'clock. But yes, you should work with someone that can obviously get that to you fast. And the what is I can go into why what the conditional conditional approval is, but obviously pre-qualified, pre-approved, desktop underwriting, and then this loan conditionally approved. As a realtor going into a competitive market, how does that help you win for your client and getting that type of approval letter?
Yeah, so I mean, we can like PreQual. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is they haven't even looked at your like financials, right?
You tell me how much money you make
Exactly,
and how much
yeah.
debt you have, liabilities, and I'll say, yeah, it pencils out. Your DTI is at 45. We can do a loan. That's the pre-qualified.
So I wouldn't even submit an offer with a PreQual, because that tells me that you have not submitted the correct paperwork or all the paperwork, and we don't even know if you can actually afford a house. You know.
Yeah.
Pre-approval, I would say, is the absolute minimum, and fully underwritten, or what do you call it?
So, the pre-approval, luckily, and most lenders are if I told you the lender wants to give you pre-approved and needs to run your credit, what are they going to do?
What do you mean?
Most lenders are going to do a hard credit pull.
Oh yeah, the hard credit pull.
I think that I know why they're going to do a hard credit pull. They feel like they got you now,
and you don't want to get your credit pulled again.
Bingo. Yeah. So we do a soft credit pull from the get-go. When you apply, we'll do a soft credit pull no matter what. We pay for it. The consumer's not paying for it, and that gives us the real picture behind the curtains of credit score, which is huge, very important in getting you approved, and also what your real liabilities are that you're going to be tasked with for debt to income. But the best one, which I can actually do in probably 48 hours, maybe.
As long as they're submitting the correct paperwork.
Yeah, if I have your, on like a W-2 employee, if I have your bank statements, tax returns, or bank statements, W-2, and your pay stubs, I could get you a verified approval letter, which is an actual underwriter has approved you with these conditions before you're even like ready to go.
Yeah.
And that makes you, now you're like you said, you're writing offers with shortened contingencies or no loan contingency.
Yeah, so going back to how it's helpful, if you have a pre-approval letter and you need 30 days to close and a 10-day loan and appraisal contingency versus being fully underwritten, you could maybe even remove the appraisal contingency if they're coming in with a certain down payment and have a super short loan contingency if needed and have a 15 to 20 day close. That is huge compared to the 30-day pre-approved and a 10-day contingency. It could say, depending on what the seller's needs are, it could save you, between 2 and 3% of the purchase price for sure.
And for that first-time home buyer, or let's say they bought 10 years ago and now they're buying again. Obviously, a lot's changed in 10 years. I know you do these consultations, these sessions. How important is it? What are you going to cover? And for the people watching that are going to buy in 2 months or 2 years from now, what is this strategy session?
Yeah, buyer strategy session, and I would recommend it even if you're going to buy a home in a year. I would recommend doing one if you've never purchased a home, and 2, if you haven't purchased a home in the last 3 years. I would say anything longer than that, the market is completely different. The contract has changed. So doing a buyer strategy session is so helpful for those particular people. And a lot of agents don't do this. A lot of agents will just meet a client, write an offer, and it's the first time the buyer has even looked at a residential purchase agreement. So they have no idea what they're looking at. So we go over everything. We go over timelines, every single page of the residential purchase agreement, what is expected of you, how we're going to communicate through the process, and more importantly, how you're protected in the home buying process. Because as representing a buyer, it's my top priority to make sure, 1, you get a good deal, 2, you're protected through the entire transaction. You're not going to end up in a situation where You're going to lose your earnest money deposit, and I think it gives the buyer a feeling of safety when they actually understand what the contract looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So they know timelines, and they know what they can and can't do during the transaction. It's super helpful.
Yeah, I imagine you take the anxiety and stress from here, and bring it down to here, and then it's a lot more just enjoy. Like, let's make the process enjoyable and exciting, like it should be.
Yeah.
And get rid of those nerves. I see you as pretty even keel. I imagine there's like a
sailboat joke.
Sailboat joke. Do you get stressed out at all in the transaction? Because your clients probably never see it.
I absolutely never show that I'm stressed in the transaction. I wouldn't say I've ever been stressed. I've only ever been, I would say, concerned, like when a terrible inspection report comes back and I then have to tell my clients, I don't think we should move forward with buying this house.
Wow.
Because of this, and this. Obviously, it's up to the buyer what they want to do. I can only give what I think is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are, I'm sure you've seen those inspection reports where there's nothing that can be fixed, or it's going to cost $50,000 to fix an issue, and the seller isn't going to give it. So having hard conversations, I wouldn't say I get stressed out about it. It's just certain situations are a little concerning at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to do the right thing for your clients. You're going to have that honest conversation. You are that knowledge broker. You study daily on what's going on in the market, so you can be that best fiduciary to your clients, buyers and sellers. Any parting advice or comments?
I think if you're a seller watching this, expect days on market to pick up as we enter 2024. Expect more buyers to be out looking, and expect a little more demand in the market. Rates are dropping. They announced there's going to be multiple rate cuts next year. So if you're a seller and you're stuck in your home, because there's a lot of people who are in a home they don't like because they got it with a 3% mortgage rate, maybe 2025, when rates are low fives, would be a good opportunity for you to sell and buy something else. If you're a buyer, get an agent who's going to hustle for you, because I think we're going to come into a market where having that competitive edge is going to make a huge difference.
I agree.
Yeah.
If they want to hire that agent, if they want to get that result that's them winning, how do they get a hold of you?
You can call me, email me. My phone number is 949-844-6584. My email address, iain@onyxhomes.com.
People probably get that wrong all the time and call you Lane.
My name is Iain. It's just an extra I in there.
Iain with an extra I is what I will call you from now on. Awesome. And on your YouTube, social, how can they follow you?
Instagram is IAINR Phillips is my Instagram, and that has links to my YouTube and TikTok.
Awesome. Thanks for coming and us being able to rekindle. I haven't seen you in a little bit, so it was nice to chat. Thank you. If I were ever to buy a house, it would be with your guidance and your expertise. So
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
You're welcome. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and look forward to getting you to catch our next episode next week.